welcome to the second annual, we can say now, second annual Demo Day. And thanks for everyone for coming out in the bad weather and being here. Particular thanks to all the members of the team who made this happen, to all you advisors and mentors who have worked so closely with all the companies to help them get to where they are today. We had a little sneak preview last night. These guys are really good. You're in for a treat. So I'm Bobby Robbins. I'm the president and CEO of the Texas Medical Center, and I was instructed to give you a little slideshow here to tell you about, for all of those of you who are not from Houston and don't know about the medical center, just to give you a little vision of our little town here that sits, the downtown actually sits in the shadow of the medical center, as you can see from this slide. But it really is the largest medical center in the world, and this just depicts some of the statistics that we quote all the time. Over 100,000 employees, 8 million patient encounters, a lot of business for digital health companies, which you'll hear more about today. We have over 9,000 beds, 50 million square feet of space that we're going to increase by 10% over the next 2 or 3 years. So it clearly is the largest medical center in the world. And our job when we came in was, how do we get these 57 different institutions to work together more collaboratively and cooperatively? So these are the 5 areas that through a strategic planning process that was about 200 people that worked together over a year to come up with these 5 different areas. We don't have time to run through all of them. But you can see number 1 there is innovation and commercialization. We've got the largest clinical operation in the world. We've got a very strong research portfolio with several $1 billion a year in NIH and NSF funding. But what we've been missing was the bridge across the so-called valley of death. That's the intersection of translating the fundamental discoveries into commercializable products, whether they be new drugs, new medical devices, new diagnostics, or new digital health solutions that improve human health. So you're going to hear a lot more about that today. The Innovation Institute, where this is the accelerator that these companies have been working in over the last several months. But there are actually 4 components to the Innovation Institute, which is one of our 5 strategic institutes. There's the accelerator here. Just behind that wall, there's space for co-working space for companies that are sort of beyond the accelerator incubator phase. Behind me is JLabs. If you haven't had a chance to go through JLabs, it's a phenomenal 30,000 square foot facility with state-of-the-art class AAA, I would say, lab space and meeting space that we're very happy to have the corporate partner Johnson & Johnson and JLabs running that for us. In the back, you'll see, if you walk around the curtain, next week, I think it is, will be the opening of the AT&T Foundry. So AT&T have innovation centers around the world, but this is the first one totally dedicated to digital health. So all of these companies are glad that they're going to be here, that you'll hear from today. And then Bill has a partnership with Apple that was just announced a few months ago. So all of these components make up the Innovation Institute. The final component is the biodesign program. And in addition to the 15 accelerator companies you'll hear from today, we've got a special opening act, if you will, from the biodesign teams. And you'll hear more about that in a moment from Farzad, who helps co-direct that program. So biodesign is a program that was really started at Stanford, I believe, by Paul Yock, and we'll say a few more words about that in just a second. But I wanted to show you this video. It's about 2 minutes. I just saw it for the first time a few minutes ago. So.
TMCx is a place where companies can come in, grow their company, accelerate their company, learn about their product and the market fit for their company, and really get engaged with probably the most robust healthcare network in the country.
Being in this environment, having this place in an old factory that's been renovated and provides that collision of networking capabilities so that you can brainstorm with others while you focus on your own team, allows you the ability to be successful.
think there's a place like this in Houston that you come in and it feels this clean and bright and innovative and fresh. So I think our whole team feels really invigorated to make this home, and to come in every day and not know who you may run into and can share ideas with. I think that's a value that this space offers over any other I could imagine.
You walk in, there's this open space, disruptive innovations written on the wall. There's all these great minds and people thinking about, complex problems and sharing ideas on how we're going to make a difference. It's the best place to let that passion, that energy come out.
This place drives creativity. This place inspires me because it's a fostering community for innovation. There's not a lot of places where you can come in every day and everyone is supportive and helping you and looking at you as an entity that may need that support now, but will take off with just a little help.
If I made a list of everything that I wanted to get out of participating in this accelerator, I would now be able to check off every box on that list. And there's no way I would have been able to check off those boxes if I hadn't participated in the accelerator, if they hadn't accepted our company, and if I hadn't had the guidance and support of the people here.
That was a very nice introduction, and you'll hear from some of the stars of the film here in just a moment. I just wanted to say one more word about the biodesign process. So we're blessed with the largest medical center and clinical volume in the world. The biodesign process, there's a textbook that was written by Paul Yock and those of us who helped him get that program started at Stanford 15 years ago. The hypothesis is that biodesign is a teachable discipline. And this biodesign program is really meant to be an educational program, and you'll hear from the two teams of what they've been through. But essentially what they do is they go out through clinical environment and look at everyday problems that need solutions. So they may come back with 1,000 needs that they've found that need to be addressed, and they whittle it down, all these needs into some final projects that they kind of vet and work through, and you'll hear what they've come up with at the end of the year of being here. It's a very competitive group. You'll hear from two teams, one digital health, one medical device team, but they were selected from over 500 applicants to get to this final 8. We've got applications that are in process right now for the next class, and I think we've got about 1,000 applicants for 8 slots. So Stanford traditionally has about 150 applicants. So we're clearly doing something right here at the Texas Medical Center. I've always said Stanford is one small sort of 400, 500 bed hospital. We have the entire Texas Medical Center for these teams to go out and go through 8 million patient encounters across 9,000 beds. I really wanted to get this program started when I first arrived over 3 years ago, but Bill and our team had a lot of things that we were trying to do, not the least of which was get the physical space ready for programs like biodesign and the accelerator to be in. And so finally we found the ideal people to lead this program. Eric Richardson, who's a professor at Rice, who had worked at Medtronic and teaches a master's degree granting biodesign program at Rice, has teamed up with Farzad Soleimani, who is a physician and faculty member at Baylor and was one of the members of a biodesign program at Stanford years ago. So I'm going to introduce now Farzad and ask him to introduce our two teams. Again, thank you all for being here. You're in for a great treat, and hang around after for some fellowship and refreshments. Farzad?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Farzad Soleimani. I'm the Associate Director of the Biodesign Program. And I've had the privilege of working with our Biodesign Fellows over the past 9 months. Our fellows, David Kim, Dave Morris, Jason Peterson, Sean Diamante, they all have come from very diverse backgrounds. They got together in August of last year, and they completed over 400 hours of observations, observing clinical practice and hospital operations in a variety of settings. and in all of our member institutions here at Texas Medical Center. What they realized very quickly is that nurse retention and engagement remain amazing challenges for our hospital administrators, given that all of our patients interact first and foremost with the nurses, given that we have a shortage of nurses, we have a nursing crisis in this country. Retaining and engaging and training high-quality nurses is paramount. So with that, I'm very pleased to introduce you to the Nightingale.
Good afternoon. My name is David Kim, and I'm one of the co-founders of Nightingale, a retention engine for nurses. Now, nurse retention is a tremendous problem, one that's costly and really time-consuming. We spent over 300 hours doing 500 interviews and discovered that for hospital CEOs, nurse retention is a top 5 priority. And that's because 1 out of every 6 nurses is going to quit this year, each costing $50,000 and 9 months to replace. Now, that's a $15 billion problem, and one that's only continuing to grow because the U.S. is facing a growing nurse shortage, which will reach 1 million by 2020. And that cost doesn't even include the increasing costs of poor patient satisfaction and increased medical errors that come from disengaged nurses, who are actually providing 70% of the patient-facing care in a hospital. So Nightingale is a mobile software solution that directly addresses the major causes of nurse turnover in a way that distinctly addresses the needs of nurses. The major causes of nurse turnover include poor communication among staff, a lack of recognition for good work, a lack of voice in the organization, poor scheduling flexibility, and limited compensation. Moreover, nurses are constantly on the run, time constrained, working irregular shifts, and having to deal with patient privacy concerns. So our software addresses this in 3 main ways. The first way is secure messaging and scheduling. Now, this includes shift alerts. Shift alerts are public announcements of newly available shifts, extra shifts that nurses can pick up. This has proven to be a really sticky feature, driving adoption, which is used over 20 times per week by the average user. Digital reward and recognition allows a nurse to publicly recognize a nurse or a manager for the good work that they've been doing, the results of which are then broadcast by a newsfeed or leaderboard. And finally, continuous feedback. This is concise, structured feedback at the point of care, providing instantaneous feedback that enables a culture of continual coaching, which has been proven to be a lot more effective than the annual review. So we believe we are uniquely positioned in a really fragmented marketplace, and that's because of our unique focus on nurses and the unique needs of nurses, especially the nurse manager, who we've discovered to be key at improving nurse retention. Our competitors, on the other hand, are focused on generic solutions, either not focused on healthcare or not focused on the unique needs of nurses. So we employ a per employee, per month pricing plan, which lets a hospital break even on the cost of our software if Nightingale saves only 1 out of 60 nurses who will typically quit each year. That's a tremendous potential ROI and something we're really excited about. So our team brings a diverse set of skills. We have over 10 years of enterprise software development experience, backgrounds in venture capital, investment banking, at McKinsey, BlackRock, and Oppenheimer. We have a set of advisors that include many nurses from across TMC and serial healthcare entrepreneurs. And we've been applying our technologies and testing it against over 100 users and executives, components live within the Texas Medical Center and hospitals here, and are preparing for a second hospital pilot as we speak. We're currently applying to accelerators, looking for seed funding, and looking for additional nurse partners. We are Nightingale, a retention engine for nurses. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm going to tell you about a patient story now. Ken is a young, obese patient who starts developing headaches on a daily basis to the point that he loses his minimum wage paying job. Over the ensuing 3 months, he develops intermittent fever, chills, altered mental status, confusion. He visits 3 different hospitals in the Houston area, outside of the Texas Medical Center. He undergoes 3 expensive CT scans, and each time he's diagnosed with a typical migraine. I had the privilege of taking care of this patient this past Saturday night at Bentop Hospital. He came to us after one of his seizure episodes. We ended up performing a lumbar puncture on this gentleman, and we diagnosed him with a severe form of fungal meningitis. My suspicion is that he did not undergo lumbar puncture because most providers are hesitant to perform this procedure in anatomically complex patients. Our fellows, Jessica Traver, Nicole Moskowitz, Yashar Ganje, and Javier Garcia, spent over 400 hours again doing clinical observation. They came up with 400 plus needs, and they selected to work on this particular problem and the solution that they have developed, which makes lumbar punctures more intuitive, more convenient, and easier to perform, is called Intuitab, and they are about to disrupt a procedure that has not changed over the past 100 years. And I introduce you to Jessica Traver, who's going to talk about Intuitab.
Intuitab has designed the first comprehensive solution to this problem. We utilize an array of tactile sensors that, when placed up against the back, can detect with greater sensitivity the underlying vertebrae, even through multiple layers of soft tissue. You can think of it as a stud finder, but for the spine. We also incorporate a needle guide to help physicians reliably insert the needle at a consistent angle, and we've eliminated the need for the cumbersome, currently used manometers to measure the pressure by incorporating a digital pressure sensor. Finally, our fluid collection system allows for sequential filling while also reducing the risk of exposure to potentially contaminated spinal fluids. We're increasing the accuracy of this procedure, so therefore we can be decreasing the physician frustration and also the unnecessary pain to the patient. By standardizing this procedure to be 30 minutes or less, we can increase emergency room throughput and saving hospitals an average of $600 per case. We've got a really strong team of 4 with backgrounds in engineering, business, and medicine, and we've been able to demonstrate our ability to meet key milestones in a short period of time. In just the past 9 months, we've spent multiple hours vetting and validating this need, as Farzad mentioned, with key stakeholders here in the Texas Medical Center. We've built and tested our beta prototype. We filed for a provisional patent, and we recently received IRB approval in order to test our imaging platform on humans. So we're now raising $1 million in order to continue the development of this product, and that will take us through an accelerator, will allow us to grow our team, build and test a beta prototype, convert to a utility patent, and submit our 510(k) application. Once again, we're Intuitab Medical. We're eliminating the guesswork from spinal taps. We'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. Our table's back there. We've also got a demo of our prototype that we can show you. Thank you.
I apologize in advance, my voice is going. So luckily, I only have a couple of minutes to speak because that's probably about all my voice has left in it at this point too. So, my name is Eric Halverson. I'm the director of the Innovation Institute here at TMC. What a fantastic start with our 2 biodesign. What a pre-show, in a way, opening act, if you will. I just want to re-emphasize again, the biodesign teams, they're 10 months into their program. And they went from the 500 needs down to 3, down to 1, to a prototype, to IP, to company formation, to raising money. I mean, it's unbelievable the speed at which they're operating. And again, just fantastic progress so far. So again, I just wanted to introduce myself, and again, while my voice holds out, I wanted to say a couple of comments about our companies and also just a quick overview in terms of our accelerator process. The other day I read a quote that I thought was very interesting about entrepreneurs. It actually came from Shark Tank, if anybody watches that show. Yeah. So it said, entrepreneurs are the only people willing to work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours a week. Which is very true of our entrepreneurs here as well. entrepreneurs, and every single one of these folks and their entire teams represented here, they do a lot of things. What do? They create, they take risks, they follow their passion, and every single one of these folks is extremely passionate about what they're doing. They see obstacles not as obstacles, but as opportunities. And they sacrifice, and some of them sacrifice a lot, to build solutions that can benefit all of us. Over my 15-year career in Boston, I started probably over 20 companies. 6 of those, I took operational roles, I took board roles as a founding member, therapeutics, devices, diagnostics, social robotics, a whole mix of different things. But the opportunity to come to Houston and join the Texas Medical Center, the biggest medical center in the country, as Dr. Robbins said, the $2 billion of research and all the amazing organizations that are part of the TMC, was basically just too good of an opportunity to pass up. The opportunity to work with teams like this, entrepreneurs like Catherine, Alex, Laura, Adam, Tom, Kim, Santosh, and Amit, David, Ade, Jin, and Austin, and really all of their teams, has just been such an honor and a privilege for me to be here today. And thank you, Dr. Robbins, thank you, Bill, for bringing me down here, because it's been my pleasure and hopefully will continue to be for many, many years to come. So thank you. I consider the entrepreneurs that are in our group now friends, and I know that they're going to forever be a part of the TMCx family and community. I'm really proud of each and every one of them. The progress they've made is really going to be evidenced by the traction that they've been getting, both in TMC, across TMC, and across the country, which they're going to highlight for you as well. I was tempted to actually break out the initial videos they did on day 1 when they were here. But then I figured we'd spare them that as well, that embarrassment. But trust me when I tell you the progress is pretty amazing. So let me just tell you very quickly about our process, which started back in October of last year for our application process, where we had over 150 applications for this cohort. We used over 30 different reviewers. Many of you are in the stand, well, not the stands, in the audience today. And we really targeted the best of the best. We really targeted 10 companies. We ended up with 12 because we really couldn't decide because they were really so good. We had about 50% of the applications and ultimately 50% of the companies we accepted are from Texas, and the other half come from around the country. At TMC and at the Innovation Institute, we celebrate the local innovations for sure, coming out of Texas, coming out of the medical center, but we certainly welcome with open arms the companies from around the country with innovations that can transform healthcare, bringing them to Houston to work with the medical center and the great physicians and nurses and administrators who are here as well. So as you see, about 6 of our companies, these are the 6 that you'll get to know a little bit today, are from in and around Texas, or they're from in Texas. Outside of Texas, we have another 6 companies that are spread out, but with a little density in California, as you can see there as well. Just quickly on some of the demographics, the breakdowns on our companies, I think it's quite interesting. 4 of our founders are MDs, CEOs and MDs. 4 of our CEOs are female, and the average size of the companies that we have in our cohort is approximately 5 people per company. So these are early stage companies, obviously. The companies have been very successful since they've been here and before they got here in terms of raising venture capital of about $18 million. We have a number of them who are poised to close. I won't say who. I was going to prematurely announce which ones are set to close in the next month, but I promised I wouldn't. But it rhymes with, no, I'm just kidding, I won't do it. So they've been very successful, and they're getting great traction there in terms of additional money raised. And again, a lot of different engagements, both within TMC, across TMC, and outside that they're going to talk to you about in a little bit more detail. A little bit about our program. Over the course of the program, we really try to structure a series of workshops, networking opportunities, facilitated introductions within the hospitals and the medical center, and then also allowing time for the companies to actually work on the company and work on their product. We did this by kicking off the program with a 2-week boot camp, 2-week very intensive boot camp based on lean methodology. Folks familiar with that? And really, the startups work on defining their value proposition, determining their product to market fit, and gathering insights through customer discovery, a crucial part of what we force them to do here, and really the success for any early stage business, is breaking down their business into a series of hypotheses that they can then go test with users. And again, with the 8 million patient visits in the biggest medical center, you've got a lot of users that you can go reach out to, but it's certainly a little bit easier said than done. In addition to those kinds of activities, we have a curriculum that we run here. We had 24 sessions ranging on topics from IP and financing to hospital budgeting and procurement processes. We had 4 hospital tours and a number of other engagements, and our companies participated in 6 national and regional conferences, including HIMSS, South by Southwest, RESI, Medical World Americas, and Texas Life Science Forum, which actually offered them a number of opportunities to pitch and compete in competitions, a number of which were actually won by our companies. So we're very excited about that. I want to take a time, and I'll say this over and over again, Dr. Robbins as well. A key to the success of this program is our advisors. I want to thank the advisors that we had. We had over 120 clinical advisors or advisors participating in our program from the 21 hospitals, many of which are represented here today. In addition to the clinical advisors, we have a host of business and industry advisors that really work with the companies on all parts of the business model, finance, marketing, and partnerships, and participate in mock board meetings and office hours and other ways in which they can advise the companies. And then also our subject matter experts, including from the finance and legal areas. We actually run a Legal Thursdays every Thursday, where the lawyers, in a pro bono fashion, advise our companies on legal matters that are very difficult, costly, and can oftentimes kill an early stage company. So we're very thankful to all of our advisors. So again, I just want to thank the advisors again. Critical to the success of our program, so important that the companies really wanted to select one of their key advisors to introduce them today. Unfortunately, we had to call a little bit of an audible because a number of our advisors got stuck in Dallas or elsewhere due to the weather. But again, we're going to kick it off here and get our advisors coming to introduce the company. So without further delay, I'm going to introduce Brett Giroir, who is here to introduce The Right Place. Thank you all very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Brett Giroir. I'm one of the resident advisors here at TMCx and former CEO of the A&M Health Science Center and director of the science office at DARPA. Transitions of care, most importantly from the hospital to post-acute care, are fraught with breakdowns in communication, expensive delays, patient and family dissatisfaction, and most importantly, lapses in the quality of care that can often lead to readmission and even serious medical complications. Not surprisingly, patients, healthcare professionals, and now the federal government are demanding change and solutions. But as they say in Texas, we can't get there from here. Why? Because transition to post-acute care is currently fragmented, it is manual, and usually performed in the absence of data. I am here because The Right Place is a breakthrough solution for all stakeholders that will potentially save billions of dollars in cost while improving the care for millions. Here to tell you about this innovative solution is Catherine Chambers, co-founder and CEO of The Right Place.
Good afternoon. I need the clicker. Thanks. Good afternoon. I'm Catherine Chambers, co-founder and CEO of The Right Place, and we're helping hospitals discharge patients to post-acute care in a quicker, better, faster way. This is our co-founder, Dr. Alan Abrams, a Boston-based geriatrician who's been practicing geriatrics in the Harvard system for over 30 years. Dr. Abrams became frustrated with the way the discharge planning process was negatively impacting outcomes of his patients. I've spent the past 15 years in the travel industry, perhaps worlds apart, but a partnership uniquely suited to fill this gap in care coordination. When I learned a little bit more about Dr. Abrams' frustrations, here's what really struck me. 40% of all hospital discharges require some form of post-acute care, and roughly half of those go to a skilled nursing facility or a SNF. Tragically, 24% of those patients are readmitted to hospitals within a 30-day time period, costing Medicare up to $17 billion a year and causing a negative impact on those patient outcomes. What's more, 80% of hospitals today rely on phone, paper, and blast fax solutions to manage this discharge process and communicating patient details with a network of SNFs they'd like to send a patient to. We can do so much better. We need to leverage technology for what it can do well. Consider the number of applications available to any of us to research a next hotel vacation with real traveler reviews, filtering, and online booking engines. Or the number of applications we have on our smartphones that enable us to book a dinner reservation tonight by filtering mechanisms on cuisine, ambiance, or even payment method. Shouldn't the same be available in healthcare? That's why we created The Right Place. Let me show you how it works. We first provide a mobile solution to the skilled nursing facilities so they can manage all of their bed inventory and incoming referrals on one easy-to-use application that's manageable to access 24/7 from anywhere. This really becomes a central reservations platform for them. And importantly, we can track the trends coming through this application compared to the whiteboard methods that are used today. From here, we can expose this data to other stakeholders, such as skilled nursing facility operating companies, so they can look across their portfolio of operators to see what types of trends on length of stay and case mix are coming through their facilities. We have an application that we're now exposing to hospitals for those discharge planners to identify a skilled nursing facility for a patient they're trying to discharge by filtering on location, ACO alignment, special equipment that the facilities may have, and those that have an available bed for a patient that needs to be discharged really quickly. Further, our application allows the hospital to observe what happens to the patients after they leave the hospital. This is a really important component as we move to more value-based care, and hospitals and ACOs are wanting to manage and understand the outcomes of their patients through the post-acute continuum. We've had great traction to date. We're live in over 60 skilled nursing facilities in the Boston market. We're just wrapping up a pilot with Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center and 2 of the pioneer ACOs in the Boston market. Through the exposure through the digital health accelerator programs like Healthbox and now at TMCx, we're in good discussions with 4 health institutions here in Houston. And we're really proud to be the grand prize winners of the Athena Health's Innovation Challenge that was just announced last month. This is just the beginning. We think The Right Place has great application to serve other segments of the healthcare continuum and matching the right patients with the right place of care in a better, faster, smarter way. And we look forward to telling you all more about it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. When I first heard Alex Izagirre's pitch several months ago, it immediately resonated with me. My name is Aisha McCracken, and by background, I have built and run physician organizations for many of Houston's large health systems. So this idea of provider credentialing is something that I have worked with over and over and over again. The mostly manual data gathering and sharing processes required by the credentialing process are among the most inefficient, costly, and frustrating processes in healthcare today. Alex Izagirre, his vision is to create a cloud-based solution to make this process hassle-free. I could very quickly see the potential in this. And by the way, his solution saves billions. So he'll tell you that in just a few moments and tell you more about that. My work with Alex began in early February. Since that time, I've seen Alex really narrow his focus, refine the solution, build a very strong team, and in that process, I've had the opportunity to work with Alex and his team as they have worked tirelessly to develop a unique and valuable service offering. It's been really exciting. It's a lot of fun to work with the young energy and talent and innovation, and to work with Alex and his team as they bring this vision to life. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Alex Izagirre, the CEO and founder of Apprentice Systems.
Thank you, Aisha. Welcome to Demo Day. So, healthcare organizations seek to limit expenses, losses, fines, and increase revenues as much as possible. Yet, an innocuous activity such as keeping track of information that you're collecting from and maintaining from clinicians and students has a tremendous impact on this. How? Let's take a look. Organizations today have to credential doctors, they need to rotate students, they need to keep provider directories up to date, and they need to do a lot of other things that require access to data. This process today is very manual and inefficient, and is a source of frustration for both the clinicians and the institutions collecting that information. So, what's the big deal? So you have data that's not collected well, it's bad, it's erroneous, it has issues, and there's no systems that are talking to each other in the back end. Well, it has a very big impact. Administrative costs are the largest, fastest rising expenses in the US today for healthcare. They represent 25% of the total cost of healthcare. What's even worse is that $183 billion of that cost is due to inefficiencies in the process. 100, that's criminal. We should be spending that money on better things. So our technology, we're so pleased to introduce to you Signature. And Signature allows for you to be able to eliminate 20% of that, depending on how wasteful you are. It might be less. So how does it work? An organization can make a request to a clinician to share their data with them. That clinician accepts the request, and they can easily select from a library of attributes that they've collected over time and share individually with those institutions. But the beauty really comes into play when they make a change. Later, when our clinician decides that she's going to change her office hours, every institution that's connected to that data is connected and updated immediately. So the beauty of it is everything's up to date. There's no contacting multiple people, no trying to figure out when that's going to happen. It's elegant, it's simple, it's efficient, and the best part of it is it saves tons of time and money. So if you're not excited about the technology, you're going to get excited about our business model. Signature's free for clinicians to use. They don't have to pay for anything. Any institution that wants access to that data and receives information from that clinician pays $90 per year per clinician. So let's take a look at our potential market here. If we only capture 10% of the clinician market, and they're filling out 4 different forms for different institutions, that represents $432 million of annual recurring revenue. That's incredible. Our team, we have a team of 125 years of experience with expertise in IT, sales, marketing, education, and research. So our journey started fall of 2015. We decided to start commercializing this technology. We got accepted into the TMCx program. Since then, we've refined our value proposition. We've made improvements to our technologies. We've developed strategic partners with Slalom, a very international, well-respected IT firm, and PreCheck, an organization that provides screening and background check. Our technology is being used at Rutgers University, Baylor College of Medicine, and we recently signed on Next Level Urgent Care as our first customer. So we're in conversations with Community Health Choice, other TMC organizations such as Rice, MD Anderson, Methodist, Texas Women's University, St. Thomas, and many more. In 18 months, we'd like to get 5,000 users, generate $1.8 million in revenue, and develop some partners. We're looking to raise $1.2 million, and we'd like to leverage those resources for operations, sales, and technology and salaries. At Apprentice Systems, we believe that empowering people with their data is the best way to move technology forward, the best way to get people collaborating together. And we'd love you to come and see what we're up to and see how we can save you resources so that you can redirect them towards patient care as opposed to administrative burden. Thank you very much.
Hi there, I'm Dwight Clark. I'm with National Cardiovascular Partners. We're a outpatient cardiac cath lab owner and operator of 27 facilities currently, 5 more under construction, and visions to take over the country. But to do that, we needed to find and partner with the best cardiologists in the country. We found CareSet Systems as a way to help us do that. One thing that we really key in on at National Cardiovascular Partners is a saying that since we develop physician relationships, we look at internally for employees and for partner vendors like CareSet, you can't do extraordinary things with ordinary people. And we found extraordinary people at CareSet. We first came to be introduced to them last fall, signed a pilot, and like any good young company, they said they could provide a solution, whether they actually had it or not at the time. But they built it over the course of that, and we decided to go ahead and sign a 2-year agreement with them this past February because they come through and had demonstrated themselves to be very capable and great partners to work with. So let me introduce you to Laura Shapland, the CEO of CareSet Systems.
Thank you. Wow, what a great intro. So I'm Laura Shapland, CEO of CareSet Systems. In my previous life, I worked as an energy trader, and my success really largely depended on knowing exactly where the market was at any given time. But in healthcare, market data is really expensive. It costs hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million a year. And then you get to pay for consultants and data analysts to tell you what it means. But what if you want to make big healthcare decisions, but you don't have a big healthcare budget? CareSet Systems offers a simple, intuitive, web-based software that helps healthcare executives working on the ground like you get access to the data and the insights that you need to make better business decisions in faster time intervals and with more certainty. And because our solution includes on-demand data science services, you're not going to get stuck with a huge consulting bill at the end of it. We pair $488 billion of never-before-available Medicare claims data with our proprietary algorithms to give you a software that's powerful enough to do complex visualizations like this, but simple enough that you could actually use it yourself. In just the last month alone, healthcare executives have used our software to evaluate the need for dialysis centers in a market, to find and rank independent doctor practices to acquire, and to assess the referral patterns for 5 years for hospitals. This matters because your time and effort is critical to the success of you, your organization, and your career. And this is just the beginning, because soon we're going to add custom dashboards and provider quality metrics so that you can make even more confident decisions in the future. I work with a really cool team. That guy is Fred Trotter. He's a health IT expert. He's been featured in Forbes, Wired, and US News, and he currently serves on the National Cybersecurity Task Force. That guy, that's Ashish Patel. He's been working with and selling to enterprise clients for more than 15 years. And me, I'm Laura. I helped a health IT startup go from concept to serving Fortune 500 companies. We're really excited about the results we're showing for our clients, like Dwight. We helped a founder of an ACO expand from 1 state to 11 states. A skilled nursing facility CEO assess leakage in the post-acute space. A hospital CEO increased surgical volumes by 50% in 90 days. And a VP of business development at a lab protect millions of dollars in top-line revenue. With CareSet Systems at your side, you'll sleep better at night knowing that the risks you take for your business are the right ones. If you're a healthcare executive currently facing a challenge and our data and insights could help, I'd invite you to please stop by our booth. We'd love to talk with you. We're CareSet Systems, data science as a service, powered by Medicare. Thank you.
And yes, I'm back again. I had the good fortune of working with another company very closely and advising Sensely. Imagine game-changing innovation, avatars, and artificial intelligence all being used to change the way patients interact with the healthcare system. Well, when I heard that pitch, I was immediately interested in learning more about what Adam Odesky and his team at Sensely were doing. So in just a few moments, Adam will introduce you to Molly. Molly's currently being used by U.S. clients in California in the Kaiser system, but she's one of several avatars working with patients across the globe. You won't meet Olivia, but know that Olivia, who speaks with a British accent, interacts with patients who are taken care of through the National Health Services in the UK. Patients have been incredibly responsive to this platform. They're satisfied with their interactions, and what happens is that the outcomes, the health outcomes, and again, Adam will share those with you in just a moment, but they are stellar. So in the past several months, I've sat with Adam as he has presented the Sensely platform to local health executives. And the conversations would initially begin with, well, we've got processes and we've got technology. We're doing all sorts of things to take care of our chronically ill patients. But as Adam would carry on with his presentation, we would hear, wow, this is amazing. We've never seen anything like it. So it's a really interesting, powerful platform. And over this time that I've had the opportunity to advise Adam, I've been amazingly impressed by the depth of his vision and the technical capabilities of his engineering team. They've created a platform that rapidly demonstrates broad-scale value today, but also remarkable possibilities for the future. So it's my pleasure now to introduce Adam Odesky, who is the CEO and founder of Sensely.
That was amazing. Thank you, Aisha. That was great. So we're Sensely. My name's Adam Odesky, and we're a virtual nurse platform that helps physicians better manage and communicate with their patients. So what is the problem that we're trying to solve? So we all know about the disproportional share of costs that chronic diseases impose on our healthcare system. In fact, 5% of Americans account for over 50% of all the system's healthcare costs, and doctors and budgets are struggling to cope. The problem has really reached a crisis proportion. And we think that technology can really help, but not just any technology. We need deep patient engagement. We need actionable data. We need to create value for all the stakeholders in the ecosystem, including patients, providers, as well as the payers. And that's essentially why we built Molly. So Molly's unique user interface was purpose-built for deep patient engagement. It's mobile first. It combines a virtual nurse avatar with speech recognition, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and medical device integration. We're making patient interaction simple, intuitive, and also motivational. And we've proven it to be highly effective because of the power of the virtual human connection. Let me show you an example of how Sensely is being used in a heart failure setting by patients today.
Our app can be a part of their lives every day. So our avatar Molly, she can check in with the patient every single morning, more than once a day if that's needed. She can ask the patients how they're doing. She can collect really important information such as their weight or their blood pressure, glucose levels, ask them relevant questions to whatever condition they might have. And all this information can be funneled back to the clinician seamlessly so the clinician can just be alerted to which patients are actually possibly having an issue that day.
Your weight is 190.9 pounds. You did not gain any weight. That's good.
But that's not all the product does. Inside Sensely, we built an intelligence workflow engine that puts clinicians and care teams in control. Using Sensely, they can easily assign these sort of Molly assessments to their patients. Molly does all the monitoring and informs the clinicians if patients experience any unusual risks, such as weight spikes or high blood pressure, etc. Clinicians can then immediately look at the record and perform an intervention, a medication adjustment, having the patient come into the office, a telemedicine visit. All that is done by the Sensely platform. So in a recent pilot that we did with Kaiser Permanente in heart failure, we discovered that we slashed operational costs for the care team by over 3 times without impacting patient satisfaction at all. So patients are just as happy using Molly as they are actually talking to a nurse on the phone. The other thing is that we increased capacity of the number of patients that nurses can manage by 2.5 times. And the best part of all, in our programs today, we have not had a single readmission within 30 days on the same exact cohorts as the traditional heart failure clinics. So we've been a company for just over 2.5 years, and we've been fortunate enough to work with some of the largest names in the healthcare business, including the National Health Service of the UK, MetLife, UCSF, and Kaiser Permanente. All of our contracts and deals right now are paid, and we're expanding it more. And we've been also, in the last 6 months, creating a really engaging relationship with the Texas Medical Center, particularly the institutions outlined here. We've done it both on a partnership level as well as on a research level, and we plan to deploy to our first patients in the next few months. So we have to hope to continue working with the Texas Medical Center and create something great for patients and have them live happier, healthier lives. Thank you very much. We're Sensley.
Good afternoon. I'm Larry Luck. I'm one of the business analysts here at TMCx. I have the pleasure to work with these companies on a daily basis and am just extremely invigorated by the way that they're transforming this industry. I'd like to introduce one company in particular now. Valera Health is a company focused on the current crisis in behavioral and mental health care. 1 in 5 Americans, or 42 million people in this country, suffer from a mental health condition, and half of those are undiagnosed or uncared for. Now, whether diagnosed or not, these patients present a tremendous cost to the healthcare system because our most needy and highest cost patients are comorbid with medical and mental health conditions. To frame this problem yet another way, the New York Times recently published that suicide rates in our country have reached a 30-year high. So Dr. Thomas Tsang, the founder and CEO of Valera Health, saw an opportunity to use technology to amplify behavioral health services and disrupt the way that we approach mental illness. He's put together an exceptional team of data scientists, policy experts, behavioral health specialists, and engineers to solve this problem. He's an internist by training, and as the chief medical officer of a federally qualified community health center in downtown Manhattan, has implemented a behavioral health model to serve 40,000 patients. He later served as a congressional staffer on the House Committee on Ways and Means, contributing to the Affordable Care Act. He was the medical director to the Office of Health IT and chief medical officer at Merck in the Services and Solutions Division. So it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Thomas Tsang.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, thank you. So thanks a lot. I'm Tom Tsang. I'm CEO and co-founder of Valera Health. And as Larry so graciously introduced me, we have a really bad crisis at hand. Half of the country are short of providers. We need 3,000 psychiatrists just to fill the void. And in Texas alone, we need 1,000 psychiatrists. And what does that translate to? So we have patients who are the neediest and highest costs in the system that have comorbid medical conditions and mental health conditions costing 3 times more than patients with just pure medical conditions. And what we're seeing is really the consequences of all this is that payers and providers and governments recognize this problem, are actually making a huge effort and initiative in terms of getting care to these patients. And what are we trying to do? At Valera Health, we're reinventing behavioral health services through the use of data-driven and technology approaches added to human coaches. So we have 4 components. One is using population analytics to actually identify these individuals and risk stratify these people. And then we ask them to download an application on the cell phone that actually captures data and finds out exactly how they feel and sense exactly what's going on. And then we do care coordination using human coaches to actually work with these people and deliver light touch cognitive behavioral therapy and coordinate activities and telehealth visits. So a little bit more about each functionality. So in terms of the analytics, we work with payers and providers to actually identify the right care for the right patients. Not every single individual needs to see a psychiatrist, and we can actually manage 60% of these people with CBT right through the application. The application itself captures information directly from you and about you. We can get consent from the patient to collect passive data directly from your cell phone. So we collect light, your geolocation, the pitch of your voice. And the idea is to put all this information together and understand changes that would actually get you the care that you need early on to avert a costly and bad outcome. And then we actually deliver content through the application, where coaches can actually work with you, coordinate appointments, remind you on medications, and actually help direct your goal planning in terms of mindfulness training, stress reduction. And then lastly, we coordinate and work with individuals and actually coordinate schedule telehealth visits with provider organizations. And so in essence, we have all the components in an end-to-end solution to amplify existing models at least threefold. So the value proposition for the patient is that there's accessible private care in the comfort of your own home, and you're totally linked to the care team. The value proposition for payers, they actually meet the requirements of the Affordable Care Act and provide timely service. And the value proposition for providers, you actually can have a sustainable, efficient model to take care of the needs of your marketplace and gain access to new markets through telehealth reimbursement models. This is a huge opportunity to disrupt. There's $106 billion that were spent in 2015 for inpatient and outpatient services. And think about it, if we just get 1% of the marketplace, that's $1 billion in 5 years. We've been very, very fortunate. We've only been around for 1 year, and we've gotten 2 customers with revenues of $350,000 this year, and we're projecting revenues of 1.7. And our business model is based on a PMPM pricing model, but ultimately we like to take risk. So we've been working with some of the most elite organizations around the country. We're doing a clinical trial with McLean Hospital, connected with Harvard, working with a group of schizophrenics. We're working with Montefiore Medical Center and their comorbid conditions patients in their Pioneer ACO model. And now we've just come up with a proposal with the city of Louisville. So join us in reinventing behavioral health and help us to help others. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Kelly Werfel. I'm an endocrinologist here in the Texas Medical Center. And as you can all imagine, I am a large prescriber of pharmaceutical products in the care of my patients with chronic medical problems. So I have over 20 years of practice in medicine, seen firsthand the interruptions that pharmaceutical representatives can impact on my clinic. They're disruptive, they interrupt my clinic. I'm commonly have an iPad following me around to get signatures from the pharmaceutical reps. It's not a practical model. So I was thrilled when I came to learn of our next new company, Express, to learn that they have a platform that's going to make those easier for me. The pharmaceutical reps are very valuable. Their information, their patient education, their product information. In the Affordable Care Act and the current insurance changes, coupons, samples, formulary products, et cetera, are very important to me in being able to prescribe the proper medication for these patients. So when I learned of Express and their CEO and founder, Kimberly Corbitt, I was excited to work with them and try to bring this product to fruition. Kimberly's a former pharmaceutical rep herself and understands the relationship between the physician and the pharmaceutical industry. This is her second startup and one that I'm looking forward to continue to work with and develop to help all clinicians as they work through patient problems. The Express platform is a business model that puts the doctors in charge of the pharmaceutical relationship. Please join me in welcoming Kimberly Corbitt.
Thank you, Kelly. So you're all halfway done. 15 years ago, I was a pharmaceutical sales rep. It didn't take me long to realize that although healthcare providers really valued the resources and information I brought to them, they didn't value me. I was one rep representing one company and able to talk about 2 or 3 products at a time. I got really frustrated quickly, and I left the field to start a business in an unrelated area. Shortly after I left pharmaceutical sales, several studies were released that talked about the ineffectiveness of the current model. Well over half of healthcare providers won't see pharmaceutical sales reps at all, and 68% of pharmaceutical executives believe that the model is broken and in need of repair. In spite of these facts, the pharmaceutical industry continues to spend $15 billion a year sending drug reps in to talk to the few offices that will still see them. That's why we created Express. Express is a customizable digital platform that allows healthcare providers to pull the resources and information they want about the pharmaceuticals that they're prescribing on their own terms. With Express, and in conjunction with MD Anderson, who's helping us build additional functionality, a healthcare provider will be able to launch a screen from within their electronic health record that will show them all of the drugs for a given disease state listed by formulary tier for the patient who's sitting right in front of them in a paper gown on their table, and will show what the patient's cost is for those drugs. This is a huge time saver and a huge support for healthcare providers and patients. We're able to provide this service free of charge to clinicians and to healthcare systems. The pharmaceutical industry pays us on a variable or fixed subscription basis, and if we capture just 5% of current rep call volume, our annual revenue would exceed $400 million a year. In order to build this platform, we had to build a great team. And our team has been together in one capacity or another for the last 10 years. We're all mature and accomplished, and for the last 3 years, we have listened incredibly carefully to healthcare providers. We've iterated and tested and relaunched different versions of our product in front of more than 600 healthcare providers. And we now have the perfect solution that healthcare providers tell us is exactly what they want and what their patients need. So many things about healthcare today disempower doctors. Please join us. Whether you're an administrator, a clinician, a pharmaceutical executive, or an investor, help us to put some of that power back where it belongs, in the hands we trust the most, our physicians.
Hey, good afternoon. I'm Chris McCord, Managing Director and Co-founder of Healthcare Growth Partners, an investment bank and merchant bank focused on health IT. Introducing Cognetics today. We've all heard the stories about HIPAA violations, stolen records from the inside, and ransomware attacks from the outside, and the list goes on. We also know that machine learning and artificial intelligence are the hottest domains being discussed today. Cars can drive themselves, marketing is more precise than ever, and decision support sits within the Internet of Things. Big players such as Apple, Google, IBM, have all announced heavy investment in machine learning projects such as Siri, Google Assistant, and Watson. But data security remains to be conquered. Financial institutions have been using behavior analysis techniques for years to defend against stolen credit cards. However, for healthcare, this type of technology has been virtually impossible for a variety of reasons. This is where Cognetics has made an impact. By approaching this problem differently, Cognetics' ambient cognitive cyber surveillance is poised to turn the tables against cybersecurity threats in healthcare. Santosh Varghese is here to share more. Santosh and I worked together a few years ago for his first startup, HealthPost. when we sold that company to advisory board. Santosh, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon. My name is Santosh Varghese. I am the co-founder of Cognetics, and we're going to talk about patient health records. Cognetics is solving a current insidious problem that is actually worsening. It's the security of your personal health records. 1 in 3 Americans have had their health records compromised. That means a third of you in the audience here has had your health records compromised in one way or another, and you don't even know about it, or you may have gotten a letter. What that means is that $8 billion is actually what it costs hospitals for remediation. These are things like lawsuits, credit card monitoring services, et cetera. But the bigger impact is about 40+ billion to the US economy. We decided to step back and figure out, why is this still happening in this day and age? You know, we can go to Mars, we can go to the moon, we have driverless cars, but we can't figure out how to solve this problem. So we asked different questions, and we looked at the problem differently. And we arrived at the following key insights. Oops, sorry. We discovered through research that 45% of all hacking or data breaches are done by outside criminals. This is what we hear about in the news and TV, et cetera. But there is a big gorilla in the room that nobody talks about because it just can't be solved yet, which are insiders. These are employees, staff members who have access to all this data, and they can snoop on anything else that they want. And then another big gorilla is 23% vendors and contractors. They have access to your highest level systems. Now, all 3 of them have a common Achilles heel. What do they do to get the data? Login ID, the login ID and credentials that we all take for granted. Hackers hack through systems to steal login IDs. Insiders already have the login IDs. Vendors already have login IDs. So if we can take the login ID and create a new defense layer where we are learning the behavior, habits, and patterns of what users do when they access an application, we can create a digital fingerprint of normal user activity. So imagine that to be a baseline fingerprint, a digital fingerprint of normal user activity. So we learn this, we remember it, this is what Cognetics does, and the next time the same person comes on to that same application, it's a match. However, if somebody steals that login password, they have no idea of what the behavior pattern is. And so our system will virtually instantly recognize that it's an imposter. And we can intercept and stop the data breach very fast, which is not possible today. Well, it was actually technologically impossible for the last few years until a couple of things happened, which is cloud computing. Computing power has now been commoditized. You can get supercomputing power for very low cost, and over the next 5, 10, 15 years, it's going to be cheaper and cheaper. And then there have been advances you've heard before today, algorithms for machine learning and artificial intelligence. These 2 forces have enabled what we just talked about earlier to occur now. We call it ambient cognitive cyber surveillance. It is able to authenticate true user identity with the credentials. It can track who, what, where, when, why any person or any application is accessing data. And we call that Cognetics. It's a self-learning, adaptive machine intelligence which can detect and predict in advance anomalous user access behavior. And we have a patent on it that's issued, and we have 2 more pending. With that technology, we are currently able to outperform any system that's out there, and it continuously learns, so the performance increases. Right now, Cognetics is able to capture 9 out of 10 breaches in real time. Compare that with competition that, if they're even working, can capture 3 out of 10, and homegrown systems 1 out of 10. So now we have all this data. We show it on one screen to make it very easy for you to understand what's going on in your system, whether it's a local hospital or worldwide. We already integrate with all of these systems. We actually use our own technology to digest this information and parse it And so we can understand this data even though they may not give us the fields. We are deployed, and we actually are catching criminals right now. We are generating revenue. We are growing very fast. And we are raising $10 million to accelerate that growth and to really meet this challenge head on. Thank you.
To introduce you to e-pre-op. E-pre-op was started by two working anesthesiologists to tackle the inefficiencies and waste during the surgical process. The estimated waste costs our healthcare system over $30 billion annually. E-pre-op's surgical valet software helps coordinate perioperative care while optimizing patient engagement, billing support, readmission prevention, and everything in between. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. David Bergman, an anesthesiologist and CEO and co-founder of ePreop.
Hello, my name is David Bergman. I'm the CEO and co-founder of ePreop. I started the company based upon problems that I saw every day as an anesthesiologist. I want you to imagine for a minute that you're a patient and you've just been told by your surgeon that you need to have a surgical procedure. So this is one of the most stressful times in somebody's life, and now you have to start worrying about, is the case scheduled? Is it authorized? Do you need to get lab work? What about a physician consult? You also need to talk to the facility, give some of the same exact information all over again with pre-op screening RNs, registration authorization in the lab department. All of this causes confusion and anxiety for the patient leading up until the day of surgery. And there's also financial concerns around how are they going to pay for the case? What about lost days from work? So finally, you show up on the day of surgery, and you see your anesthesiologist. They have about 3 minutes to evaluate you and make sure that you're safe to proceed to surgery. A typical experience is you look at the chart, and there's a large number of unnecessary preoperative tests and consults. The very next case, you may look at the chart, and it's missing a necessary test that leads to a case delay or a case cancellation. All the while, the clock is ticking, and there's pressure to clear that patient and get them back to the operating room to keep the OR moving. This chaos is why we created Surgical Valet. Surgical Valet helps simplify the surgical encounter. It's a modular software platform that coordinates care across the entire perioperative continuum. It all starts with patient engagement. We provide simple tools to facilitate communication between the patient and their healthcare providers. At the same time, we give personalized instructions based upon their health profile and the surgical procedure that lets them know exactly what they're supposed to do leading up until the day of surgery. Healthcare providers can access our platform directly out of their EHR. Here's a list of the companies that we're actually working with today. And this is what it looks like within their EHR when they access our platform. They click the ePreop button, and they can now use patient readiness tracking tools and compliance features that no other EHR has in their platform today. Now when you arrive on the day of surgery and you see your anesthesia provider, they get guidance right at the point of care that helps them know exactly what was indicated and helps them with their documentation. This also helps ensure the hospital gets appropriate reimbursement, and it also optimizes quality scores. Our readmission prevention system flags and tracks all at-risk patients from the time of scheduling all the way through post-discharge. And last, our quality capture platform helps anesthesia groups meet CMS mandates while we provide real-time benchmarking to help improve the delivery of care. So we're live in over 200 facilities today, and here's what some of our clients are telling us. We've increased case mix index by 5%. That equated to a projected $1.5 million in annual increased revenue. We're saving nursing time about 16 minutes per case. Decreasing case cancellations by 81%. Decreasing pre-op testing by eliminating unnecessary tests by 68%. And last, as the CEO of my company, something I'm most proud of, 100% client retention back in 2015. We've extended that all the way through 2016, even with our triple-digit growth. So last, the thing I'm really proud of with our team is that we're doing all of this while we're actually improving the delivery of care for our patients. If you'd like to learn more, please reach out. Thank you very much.
One more from me. The medical community is facing a growing shortage of physician providers, an increase in demand from newly insured and aging baby boomers, an ever-present pressure to reduce costs, and all of this with the growing pressure of quality concerns. But you know all of this. I would like to introduce you to DocResponse, a decision support application that is enabling primary care providers to diagnose patients faster and more accurately and avoid unnecessary procedures, all while enabling increases in billable revenue. It's a platform built on the knowledge of specialist physicians. And I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Tarek Fall, the CEO and co-founder of DocResponse. Dr. Tarek Fall is a practicing orthopedic surgeon by day and an entrepreneur here with us as well. He is at Texas Orthopedic and Sports Medicine. He performed his surgical fellowship here at Baylor College of Medicine, and in 2009 was selected as one of America's top surgeons. So without further ado, Dr. Tarek Fall to tell you about DocResponse.
Thank you. Well, my name is Dr. Tarek Fall, founder and CEO of DocResponse. Wouldn't it be great if we could have all that medical knowledge and clinical diagnostic skill that specialists attain through years of medical school, residency, and private practice at the touch of a button? Well, that's what DocResponse provides. Market problem is well understood: influx of newly insured, aging elderly population, provider shortage, and shift in accountability due to value-based healthcare transition that's happening. DocResponse helps solve this problem with a patient-facing assessment and clinical decision support solution developed by specialists to assist primary care physicians and extenders to make better informed decisions, to make them more efficient, reduce unnecessary utilization, and thereby increase their revenue. We also assist patients to make better informed decisions to reduce unnecessary spending. DocResponse has been tested thousands of times on thousands of patients in multiple clinic settings to ensure best-in-class accuracy. You don't have to believe me. The Harvard Medical School found us to be the most accurate assessment tool on the market in a peer-reviewed study published in the British Medical Journal in July of 2015. In that article, we outperformed healthcare tech giants such as WebMD and iTriage by nearly 150%, and the Mayo Clinic by nearly 300%. We've had over 10,000 users surveyed, and of those 10,000, a little over 10,000, 90% said they would use our product again, so great satisfaction scores, and 45% said they saved a trip to the ER or doctor's office. So imagine the savings to healthcare we can provide. Target markets include ACOs, large provider groups, payers, and community health centers. And our assessment tool recreates a specialist office visit. As you'll see here, patient selects a problematic area from male, female, pediatric avatar for internal medicine and the different specialties, as well as dermatology and orthopedics. And you'll see the questions are very simple because it's patient-facing. Yes, no responses for most. At the end of the assessment, the provider will get a differential diagnosis list from most likely to least likely, content about each they can provide to their patient to help better understand their medical ailment. And also, every question and answer can be made part of the patient's permanent medical record through an EHR. We also have recommendations of what to do to reduce unnecessary utilization and get the proper referrals out to specialists when they're really needed. Stakeholders include healthcare organizations, primary care physicians and their extenders, as well as patients, and we employ a SaaS distribution model or a monthly recurring revenue. For healthcare organizations, we benefit them by increasing quality of care, clinical efficiency, patient engagement, and reduced costs. And for providers, we help increase their revenue by allowing more detailed documentation in the patient's chart via the EHR, which will allow better and more accurate billing codes, which will allow higher reimbursements, as well as email interaction, which can be reimbursable as well. We also can increase patient throughput between 15 to 20% and reduce unnecessary utilization as well as inappropriate specialist referrals because we were built by specialists. For patients, we can benefit them by increasing patient engagement, allowing access to an accurate assessment tool via Wellness Portal, reduce unnecessary ER and doctor office visits, as well as incorrect medical choices. Our product was developed by over 25 physicians from 9 different specialties, and our executive team has over 30 years of experience in the healthcare arena. We're excited to have the addition of Jonathan White, previous VP of Business Development from iTriage, join our team. And we have 2 pilots set to launch in the next 2 months. First one will be in 2 weeks' time, up in Ohio with the Community Health Center that Cardinal Health is watching closely and has been in 2 meetings with us already. So at DocResponse, we're looking to revolutionize healthcare delivery, and we're asking the TMC stakeholders to pilot our product, maybe allow it to be part of a wellness portal, also to become early adopters. We're also looking for strategic investors to help grow our product. If you're interested in learning more about DocResponse, feel free to reach out to us right over here at the table to your right. Thank you very much.
I have the pleasure of introducing Moving Analytics next. Moving Analytics was introduced to us by way of Stanford University. Dr. Robbins and I had the pleasure of being on the interview call with Ade Adesanya, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Moving Analytics. And immediately we were captured by his enthusiasm for what he's about to accomplish. Moving Analytics establishes a very convenient mobile platform for cardiac rehab. As an ER physician, I see a lot of patients in the emergency rooms every day that could be outside of ER, be treated by the primary care doctors, and we can prevent significant number of readmissions if patients with cardiac conditions, coronary artery disease, congestive heart failure, follow cardiac rehab programs. International guidelines recommend cardiac rehab for this patient population. However, the usage and access to cardiac rehab programs are suboptimal. Less than 50% of patients who can benefit from such programs actually get to have access to them. So this mobile platform is enabling better access, more convenient access, and an affordable way for patients with cardiac conditions to stay out of the hospital. With that, I'm pleased to introduce Ade Adesanya.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. I hope you've been excited by all the presentations before. My name is Ade Adesanya. I am the co-founder of Moving Analytics, and I would like to talk to you about the work we're doing in chronic disease management. So I'd like to tell you a story of Joe. Joe just suffered from a heart attack. After his discharge, his cardiologist prescribed him a cardiac rehab program and emphasizes that it's important for him to finish it because patients who do live 5 years longer and have half the risk of getting readmitted. But for Joe to participate in the program, he would have to go to the hospital 36 times, and usually the hospital is very far away from home and work, and also the classes are only offered during business hours. In addition, the program costs up to $1,800 in copays. Unfortunately, Joe decides not to enroll in the program. But Joe is not alone. In fact, less than 20% of patients in the US will ever attend cardiac rehab after surgery. And because very few patients do rehab, most rehab centers are unprofitable and hospitals are penalized because of readmission penalties. But there's an alternative. At Moving Analytics, we help hospitals implement a convenient and affordable cardiac rehab program that is delivered through patients' mobile devices. Our platform was developed in partnership with Stanford. So let me show you how it works and tell you a different story for Joe. So once Joe is discharged from the hospital, his nurse care manager will create a care plan for him on our dashboard. This plan is sent to Joe through an app on his smartphone. At home, the app guides Joe through his rehab tasks, which includes his exercise prescription, tracking his different vital signs, education, and an easy-to-use interface for him to communicate with the nurse. As Joe completes his daily rehab tasks, his progress is sent back to the dashboard. Once a week, his nurse calls him to check in on him and his progress, address any challenges he has, and revises his goal for the following week. Using our software, we make cardiac rehab more convenient and affordable for Joe. He only goes to the hospital 12 times now, and the program only costs $600. And in our deployment across 500 patients, we've shown that 90% of patients who do the program actually finish it. That's compared to 5% before. So with this, we can help hospitals see 3 times more patients, we can help them increase revenue, and we can help them reduce readmissions, which is very important. Medicare reimburses the hospital $1,500 per patient who does the program, and we charge the hospital $300. So it's a software license business model. And with 3.5 million patients each year in the US who are eligible for cardiac rehab, this represents $1 billion market opportunity. and we're well on our way to capturing that market. In less than a year of operations, we signed 10 of the leading cardiovascular practices in the country. But our secret sauce is really our team. Our team includes experts in chronic disease management from Stanford, software development, and business and sales. Since joining TMCx, we've had a fantastic time. We've raised $1.2 million in seed funding, and we're currently engaging 40 hospitals that we hope to close by the end of the year. I want to end on a note on why this is important to me. Patients who do cardiac rehab live 5 years longer. I want you to ask yourself, what does 5 years mean to you? How many more birthdays, how many more anniversaries, how many more opportunities to say, I love you? At Moving Analytics, this is what we're fighting for, to make healthcare more convenient and more affordable so that patients with chronic diseases can live a healthier, happier, more productive life. If you would like to join us in our cause, I would love to talk to you. I'll be standing there in my smashing pink jacket. Thank you very much. I'm Ade from Moving Analytics.
My name is Dr. Mark Ferrier from Texas Children's Pediatrics. I'm see 1 in 6 children have developmental problems, and 52% of pediatricians don't screen enough for developmental issues. Gaps in early recognition occur because of variation in patient workflows, provider training, and office visit durations. Our screening process currently can be really difficult for some parents. KIDSA can encourage those families to participate in developmental monitoring of their own children. Using KIDSA, they can perform developmental screening asynchronously from the office visit, which then automatically interfaces to their provider's EMR. I envision KIDSA to allow personalized patient communication the way the parent wants to be engaged via email, notifications, or text messaging, while also providing a seamless linkage with our other parent portal apps. Please allow me to introduce and welcome Dr. Jin Lee, co-founder and CEO of KIDSA, who is not only an Oxford-trained developmental psychologist, but a new mother herself.
Hi. According to Google, the top new search terms for new parents are, is my baby okay, and how do I keep track? Why? Because CDC report that 1 out of 6 children have developmental problems. The real issue is 52% of pediatricians don't have time to do a full screen on these kids to detect the issues. Part of the reason is pediatricians only have 8 to 10 minutes, and within that, they need to cover a complete physical exam, give any vaccines, answer any questions that parents have, address any emergency issues, and if the baby's crying, other problems as well. It's no wonder that pediatricians don't have time to do a full screen, which requires parents 5 minutes to fill out and another 7 minutes for the clinical staff to interpret and record. This is why KIDSA have produced Baby Noggin, our first app, allowing parents to track developmental milestones at home, and will give all that information to their pediatricians for interpretation. We have included 3 screening tools recommended by the American Academy of Pediatrics, including autism, postpartum depression, and also developmental milestones, which KIDSA have exclusive licensing for. And parents get to follow our step-by-step video instructions at home, unlike any of our competitors. And what's more important is record in real time what they have observed rather than based on memory recall. Parents love us. Thousands of parents tell us they love the continuous tracking because it offers them peace of mind knowing their pediatrician is going to review these data, resulting in much better outcomes for their kids. The pediatricians, they love the fact that all that data get integrated into their EMR. They also get to recapture some of the insurance revenue for doing these developmental screenings, which results in better outcomes for the baby and much better patient satisfaction as well. Currently, pediatricians are paying KIDSA a subscription fee, which give to their parents for free. And within a year, we went from ideation to revenue, including working with the 2nd largest Army Medical Center and the largest children's hospital in the nation, Texas Children's. I used to teach developmental psychology at Oxford. My partner, Jonathan, has 3 exits, 2 in the baby space, one of which Baby Center controls majority of the consumer baby market in the US. Avisun came from NASA Bioengineering and used to code apps for Fortune 100 companies. Our diverse advisory board, including the leading authors of screening tools recommended by the AAP, and also experts from McKinsey, Uber, and Wilson Sonsini, and others. I'm here today to seek your referrals to pediatricians, investors, and we're also hiring. Together with your support, we can help every child achieve early screening, early intervention, and much better outcomes. Thank you. My booth is back there.
I'm back, so I'm not going to reintroduce myself. So hang with us. We're on our final presentation of the day, saving the best for last, Greenlight Medical. Greenlight was founded on the belief that there is a more efficient way to get life-saving medical technology through hospital procurement and into physicians' hands. Co-founder and CEO Austin Dirks is presenting today. He was a former medical device sales rep with St. Jude Medical, selling cardiac medical devices, where he was exposed to hospital procurement and he was exposed to the dysfunction as part of that process. He founded Greenlight in the summer of 2014 after graduation from Harvard Business School with a vision to simplify hospital procurement through the first ever end-to-end solution connecting hospital providers and medical suppliers. In addition to HBS, he went to Harvard of the South, Vanderbilt, also my alma mater, go Doors. And I've really enjoyed getting to know Austin as part of this process. He's tapped into a really strategic go-to-market plan, and I have no doubt that under his vision, under his leadership, Greenlight's going to thrive. He has already secured some seed funding from Jumpstart Foundry out of Nashville, highly regarded program, and he's looking to build additional capital into that investment. So with that, turn it over to Austin.
All right, last of the 12. Some of you are excited, more than others. All right, well, let's do this. My name is Austin Dirks. I'm the CEO and founder of Greenlight Medical. But before I tell you about Greenlight, I'm going to tell you a little story. It starts here. That's me, Austin. And I was a medical device sales rep. And I sold to that guy, a doctor. And he was the sole purchasing decision maker for that, a pacemaker. But this doctor, with a limited stake in the financial success of a hospital, made that same high-cost decision on several medical devices. It's a bad omen. What does this amount to? Well, with hospitals concerned about cost containment, in addition to trends such as hospital consolidation and physicians as hospital-owned employees, there was a shift that was enabled. And that shift was a shift in the dynamics of hospital procurement to this, a value analysis committee. In the past 5 years, value analysis committees have grown to over 70% of hospital use for new product purchasing. So now physicians are stuck at the crossroads of fiscal responsibility and innovation and are driving projects through this process. But with 300 to 500 new product requests per year imparted on this process, we have a problem. And that problem stems from outdated tools of execution, such as paper-based new product request forms, with file cabinets, fax machines as our best friends, left to do our own time-consuming research independently, with multiple modes of communication, with each device having its own priority and checklist. This is a great initiative for hospitals, but with poor outdated tools of execution, this process is taking 9 months from introduction to available shelf use by physicians. So why does this matter? Well, time is money. And for every 9-month delay, there is an estimated $8.6 million attributed cost to medical device companies, rising the cost of medical technology for all involved. So what if hospital procurement didn't have to look like this? What if hospital procurement could look like this? We had one real-time, cloud-based, simplified exchange of information, which is exactly what we do at Greenlight Medical. But instead of just telling you about it, let me show you. So with Greenlight, we standardize the introduction of medical technology through one portal. By doing so, we can automate key information to all the key collaborators in the hospital: reimbursement, regulatory, financial, clinical data, and regulate that in a one shared environment where teams can gather, departments can share information, hospitals can share information, and even hospital networks. By doing so, we have a permanent storage for all data, documents, decisions, and discussions. Hospitals have the information wherewithal on an upfront scale to make responsible decisions for their facility on the cost, the quality, and the outcomes of new technologies so that they can make the best choices for their facility. But we're not just a siloed solution for hospitals. We operate with the mentality that connecting the entire value chain, from medical device company to sales rep to physician to hospital, we can manage this process in one seamless exchange and do things with data that we've never done before. This is an example of our market penetration to date with users on both the hospital and the medical technology side, in addition to our partnership with TMCx. We sit in the belly of a magnificent institution with several institutions we are in conversations with now to implement Greenlight. Here's evidence of our recent customer traction to date, in addition to our team. Our team has deep domain expertise in hospitals, software, entrepreneurship, and medical devices. We're well on our way to this goal. A $1.5 million fundraise with help from people like yourself. I saw some checkbooks. If we can do that, we can get our team expansion to get in place 10 hospital systems in the next 6 months using Greenlight Medical to ultimately fulfill our mission, to put the best medical technology into the hands of physicians to go save a patient's life. Thank you very much. I'm Austin Dirks, and this is Greenlight Medical.
Can we get all of the cohort up on stage, please, to join Austin? And our biodesign team as well, team 1 and 2, please join us. This is in case all of you have memories of goldfishes and forgotten about how great these teams were. Wow. So this is our second cohort and our first cohort for the biodesign group. Wow, keep it coming. You might have to move a little bit forward. Everyone shuffle. We may fill this stage. You know, it's pretty amazing to see when we broke ground a year and a half, we imagined this, you know, this ecosystem of talented people coming together. And it's, to me, to see this taking place and what you all have made happen today, it's a really proud moment for us all. So a special round of applause from the audience for this incredible group of entrepreneurs. We really appreciate it. Now, I know I'm in between you and alcohol and networking and fellowship, as Dr. Robbins said, so I'll be very brief. But again, the advisors, the physicians, the business people from the hospitals, it's what makes this place so unique. So a special round of applause for our advisors and throughout that makes this all possible. Now, finally, the TMCx team, can you come up here? Oh, you're behind. Oh, come here. Okay. So these are the unsung heroes that, you know, you get these incredible CEOs, and they'll all be filthy rich and forget about us all in a couple of years. I'm not sure if that's clapping for being filthy rich or forgetting about us all. Here we are. Eric, come on up here. And these are the people that for the last couple of years, and what a great addition Eric has been to the team, but how much they do behind the scenes to make these companies successful. It's a hard job. I assure you it is not a 9-to-5 job. It's about an 80-hour-a-week job. We pay them for 40. But they do just such great work, and they're really proud of these companies and this ecosystem, and interacting with some of the smartest people on earth. It's just such a privilege to work with them, and a special round of applause for them. Now, we always encourage our people to grow and explore the world. And you may not know this, but my gentleman here to the left, Larry Luck, you'll know him as the Tony Award-winning Larry Luck within a couple of years. He's going to continue his passion in acting, so he's off to Atlanta, and then to New York City. If you've not seen him, he's amazing. I get free tickets to the Tony Award. I think I'll be giving his speech at the Tony Award. So we haven't negotiated yet, but a farewell to Larry, and it's been such a privilege to work with you, and you will be surely missed. So one last comment, not that we've forgotten about you already, but TMC, this third cohort, is applications are open, and there's a lot. We've received over 200, and what's unique about the next class, it's going to be purely med device. So what we learned the first time when we had 21 companies, it's kind of hard to have a discussion about regulatory when you've got a drug company, you've got a medical device, and you've got a digital health company. Some magnetic personality happens all the time. So now we're moving our cohorts into being focused, as you see here, incredible group of digital health companies, and so our next cohort will be medical device. So we look for all of you to help us, those companies grow along with this great team. So thank you all for coming. Enjoy the beverages. Go see the companies and interact with them, and thank you for making a great year. Well done. Thanks, sir.